And John, thank you very much for running. I really do appreciate it. And Zell, you're gonna be a great lady in the Senate.
Well, that was President Biden making another gaffe while campaigning for Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman, accidentally saying that his wife Giselle will make a good senator. The president's also seemingly getting lost while trying to exit the stage. He's not sure where he's going. Joining me right now is Oklahoma Congressman and member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Kevin Hern. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. Your reaction?
Yeah, it's a sad day for America. I mean, the weakness this president shows on all front, we think, about his economic policy, but when you see him go out and speak, no wonder no Democrat wants him to come out and campaign for him. And that's why you're seeing Barack Obama hit the campaign trail, after some 6 years of being in office. This president is being relegated back to the basement again. It's really pretty sad. I mean, not to know where he's going, and this is, quote, in his adopted home state of Pennsylvania. So this is no surprise that Democrats do not want him on the campaign trail, because what he does is he goes to places like Portland eating an ice cream, and when asked about the economy, said it is strong as hell, which, quite frankly, he misspoke again. What we know is going to hell, and he doesn't want to answer for those issues across America.
Well, that's right. And Democrats are blaming Republicans. They're blaming record high inflation on COVID, on Vladimir Putin. House Majority Whip James Clyburn, though, said that what congressional choice is really to blame. Here he is on MSNBC yesterday. Watch this.
All of us are concerned about these rising costs, and all of us knew this would be the case when we put in place this recovery program. Anytime you put more money into the economy, prices tend to rise. And we do know that price gouging takes place.
So there you go. Okay, he knew it. We knew that it was going to cause inflation. Move on to the next thing. Democrat Senator Mark Warner also said that there was too much money passed in the American Rescue Plan. Though he's still blaming the majority of COVID spending on Donald Trump. Congressman, they are not taking responsibility for their policy, and that's scary because it just tells you they're just going to keep repeating these mistakes.
Well, they think the American people are stupid, and they don't listen to the American people. If you go back to March of last year, when he passed the $2 trillion American Rescue Plan, which he did anything but rescue America, it sunk America. That's why you're seeing a large majority of the American electorate today wanting to vote for Republicans. That's why you're seeing Hispanics and African Americans and the Asian voters and the independent women coming to the Republican side in a huge red wave that we're going to experience here in 18 days. It's a rebuke of their policies. It's when you hear Jim Clyburn, the third highest ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives, say today, acknowledging that prices were going to increase. They had Larry Summers telling this, President Obama's Treasury Secretary. They had Jason Furman, the head of the economic policy advisors for the Obama administration, telling him this. If you go back to March of last year, inflation was about 1.7%. It was 7% when the Ukraine war started. This is their policies driving these crazy price increases across America.
Yeah, but we don't know how bad it's going to get, Congressman. What I'm worried about is that we're going to see a rail strike right after the midterm elections. I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks. I believe the president basically told these unions, put a pin in it until November 9th, and then we'll talk. Now the Wall Street Journal editorial board is out with an op-ed totally agreeing with that notion. It's titled Midterm Elections First, Rail Strike Later. It charges that Biden's rail strike deal looks more like a convenient delay, Congressman. What can you tell us on House Ways and Means Committee in terms of the impact of a rail strike?
Well, it's obviously devastating. When I talk to Oklahomans across my district, across the state, and then when I talk to other members that are running for office across the country that we're out working to get elected, they're hearing this from everywhere, is that this would be crushing of our economy. It's already bad. This would really put us over the edge to see an exponentially rising inflation rate. And I'm with you. I think that the American people know that this president is playing games with this election. When you look at what he's done with Saudi Arabia, when he's done with the strategic petroleum reserves and taking barrels of oil out there that we need to be using for real emergencies, not policy problems. And then you hear him going and begging Iran and Venezuela for oil. This president is grasping for everything to try to win this election. They're not going to win. The American people have spoken, and we're seeing in droves coming over to the Republican Party.
Well, I mean, look, he did the same thing with the Saudis, basically saying, okay, you want to cut production, just do it after the midterm elections. I mean, how disingenuous is that? And now he's defending his latest withdrawal from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, saying that the move is not political. He's claiming he hasn't stopped or slowed down his oil production, Congressman. Set the record straight in terms of oil production and the bullying going on in this administration toward bankers, asking them not to bank fossil fuel companies.
Well, it's as I've shared with all my oil and gas friends here in the district and across the state, as many Americans know, Oklahoma has a very rich history in oil and gas. Some 40% of our economy is in oil and gas. And I have many meetings with my oil and gas producers. They feel discouraged about producing in this country because they know at any minute this president can, through executive action, destroy everything that they've done. They've gone to the financial sides, to the big private equity groups and saying, don't bank these insurance companies that have assets that are trying to insure these rigs. Don't bank the oil and gas folks who are out there. Go after them with ESG regulations that crushes them. The regulatory side has been incredibly crushing to this industry. We're producing some 1 million to 2 million barrels a day less than we were before the pandemic, and we're getting that from crazy places like Iran and Venezuela. And this president is saying one thing but doing another, and that's why you see the economy just crashing. Energy independence and energy security is national security. And we've got a real problem on our hands. If the American people are looking at President Biden and shaking their head when he does these gaffes like he did in Portland and like he did in Pennsylvania, imagine what the world leaders are looking at as an opportunity to simply crush our economy and impact us militarily. We've got a situation on our hands that we have to rein this president in, and we have to do that through taking back the House and taking back the Senate here in 18 days.
I mean, I understand your sentiment because it does feel like a very dangerous time right now. We could lose the country. You've got the CCP wanting to overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. And this president basically rolling over for China in any way they want. We're going to keep watching this. Kevin Hern, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much, Congressman, for weighing in on all of that.
Thanks, Maria.